My name is Truth Renaissance, and today we're going to make a raw faux cheesecake, cranberry cheesecake. And the reason I call it a faux is because you're not using any dairy and you're also not cooking. So I've gathered together some things to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with, you're going to need a food processor. You need a food processor. This kid, in my experience, making the nut crust does not work in the Vitamix, okay? So you need this attachment for the food processor. Put it in. Now we're going to start to put the ingredients in. So what we need is we need 2 cups of nuts. Oh, got to get my cups and stuff. I gathered all the things that I'm going to need, and I put them here. And there's a couple of reasons why I do that. Is because that way, as I use them, I put them away, and then I know that I put it in. Otherwise, how would I know? And then if the phone rings or somebody comes over and needs my attention or whatever, then I know I've already used that and I don't double up on things. Now, I'm going to use a combination of almond and pecan nuts. And they're in my sealer jars, my mason jars, because I always soak my nuts and seeds and then dehydrate them before I use them, just to get whatever is in there out of there. There's all kinds of things on Google about that. And I use all organic ingredients, by the way, especially when it's raw. I mean, you just never know what's in there. So we're going to do 2 cups of these various nuts. And you could go with just one. You could go with just about any nut as long as it's not a soft nut. But, well, pecans are kind of soft. Anyway, so there we go. We got our 2... Oh great, we got some left over to put on top. We got our 2 cups of nuts in there. Now what we need is we need 1/3 of a cup, or no, let's go with 1/2 a cup of cacao powder. Let's kick it up a notch. And you could use 1/3, you could use 1/2. Because, you know, it's raw, so a lot of the ingredients you can just kind of wing it. So I keep that in a mason jar as well. This is my raw cacao powder. Do not confuse it with cocoa, because they're not the same thing. So you're going to put this in. Then we're going to put this away so I don't forget that I used it already. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our dates. So I'd already soaked my dates. I always soak my dates in filtered water. I use the Medjoo dates, so I've already soaked them and then pitted them. So we're going to put, actually we're not going to put those in yet. No, we need to put those in after we've done this a little bit. So we need some coconut oil. So what I need is 1/4 cup of coconut oil. You can use it in its solid form because it's going to get unsolided or liquefied when it goes into the food processor anyway. And because I'm going to be using this again for the filling, I'm just going to keep the spoon out and put it aside. So we're going to do this. And how much do I need for... Oh, just need this over here. Now we're going to grind this up a little bit, and then we'll add in the dates. Oh, I got to put a little bit of salt in too. A little bit of Himalayan salt. So we, just a pinch. Just take the lid off, grab it with my hands, put a pinch in there. And again, we're going to need this for the filling, so we're going to put that over by the filling. So now we're going to make a lot of noise, and if you're doing this with me, you won't mind it so much because you'll be making noise too. So here we go. We'll start off with just low. Get it going. Then we'll put it on high. We'll really get it going. And every once in a while check to see how the nuts are doing. Once they start getting into a bit of a meal kind of crumbly thing, that's when you want to add the dates through the chute, so that the dates now come into it and they adhere to it. That's what's going to make it stick together, okay? So back to this. you can see that it's starting to clump up a bit. So now we want to start adding the dates to it. We're going to put it on low for that. And you'll probably see that it's starting to clump up into a ball. So let's check it out and see if it's all in there. And yes, it is. It's all nice and clumped up into a nice big ball. So hopefully the dates are all ground in with it, and we'll just take a little quick peekaboo and make sure that it is grinding up. Nice and smooth. Oh yeah. That's nice. But we're going to give it one last little zap, just to make sure. You want it to have a little bit of crunchy in it, but not a huge amount. Just enough. Okay, so let's put this back on. And let's do this one last zap on that. Okay, that should do it. And yes, it has. So what we're going to do is, today, you can make it in just about any dish you want that can go into the freezer, but because we're taking this out of the house for a Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow night at somebody's place, what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it into 2 dishes, because I don't have one big dish that has a cover on it, and I like to cover things. So I've got 2 Pyrex plates here, Pyrex dishes that have lids for them. So now we need to divide this in half. So I'll just throw it into one to start with, and then figure out what my halfway point is. You want to see what it looks like, I guess. So here's what it looks like, and now I'm going to divide it in half between the 2 dishes. And no, I don't grease the bottom of the dishes because it doesn't really need it. It comes out quite nice without greasing it because we're not cooking it. Okay, so let's get what we figure will be half of this amount. And you know, you just kind of wing it. Now what you're going to do is just press down, like even it out and press it down to make a really nice crust. You can use your hands if you want. Oh, that's what I used to do. I just remembered. Take out a piece of parchment paper. That's an awfully big piece of parchment paper, but okay, let's take out a piece of parchment paper. Rip it in the size you need, stick it on there, and then just press it down with the parchment paper to get it kind of squished a little bit at least, and then it's a little more manageable. We'll do the same with the other side. Now if you have one of those pans that, you know, that's got a ring on it that comes apart, those are really good too, because then all you do is, once it's all set, you can just pop it out. but I don't have one of those. And even if I did, again, it doesn't have a cover. So this is not working as good. So go back into the parchment paper, push it down. They look about even, so we'll take a peek. Here you can see what it looks like. And now we're going to pop these into the freezer just to kind of get them to set up just a little bit while we make the filling. And of course the filling is going to be very large because it is a vitamin that I'm going to be working with. Okay, get rid of the food processor. And bring out the Vitamix. Now what I'm going to be doing with the Vitamix is I'm going to be making it, I'm going to put all the ingredients together and then only put half in the Vitamix to begin with, because the problem that I've had with my Vitamix doing this big of an amount of cashew nuts is that it gets clogged up and it stops. Anyway, so what we need is, I have all the ingredients sitting here. I'm going to move them over so you can see them. Already pre-soaking. So what we have is we have 3 cups of cashew soaking in filtered water just to kind of soften them up for a bit. We have 1.5 cups of cranberries. These were frozen, so I put them into some water just to soften them up. And again, everything's organic, okay? Then we're going to need 1/2 cup of orange juice, but I don't have any orange juice today, so I'm going to use lemon juice. You can buy this. This is great. I mean, I usually make my own lemon juice, but sometimes you just can't. We need some lemon zest, and thank goodness I had some in my freezer. We're going to need some maple syrup for a little bit of sweetener, some vanilla powder, and coconut oil and salt. Okay, so here goes. So what we need to do is we need to drain the cashews first. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to put them right back into this container because I do have to mix all this stuff up together. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to put it into here. Now what we need to do is strain the cranberries. Okay, so there we go. There's some that are still a little frozen, but that's okay. The Vitamix will fix that. But they're sticking together. Okay. We'll throw those in there, okay? Now, we're going to throw in a little bit of lemon zest that's frozen. Throw that in. And what we're going to need is, oh, we're also going to need some water, by the way. Yes. But what I'm going to use instead of water today is I'm going to use coconut water. I don't see why not, so let's try it. Not always a good idea to try new things when you're about to go out for dinner, but you know what? I'm a risk taker. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take half of this cashews and cranberries and put them in the Vitamix. Just about half of them. We're going to get them going. But as you can see, it's starting to fill up the Vitamix, so I like to do half and half as much as possible. So we're going to do that. And don't worry, we'll put it all back in together and give it one last zap. So now I need 1/2 cup of orange juice. So what I'm going to do is put 1/4 cup in. And remember, you got to put another 1/4 cup in to the next batch. You need a 1/4 cup of water, so we're going to do, because we need 1/2 cup of water, so we're going to do 1/4 cup of coconut water, which this is a great deal at Costco right now. Anyway, 1/4 cup of coconut water. Again, keep this cup because you're going to need it. Now we need 3/4 cup of maple syrup. So I'm going to grab this, do my 3/4 cup into the cup. And then what we're going to do is just pour out part of this into here. We'll pour out part of it. A little bit more. Okay, so, and we need a little bit of vanilla. Now, oh, we need some coconut oil, right. Okay, we'll throw in 1/2 cup of coconut oil because we need a full cup, but we're going to do 1/2 cup at a time, remember? 1/2 and 1/2. So keep all these ingredients out to remind yourself. And again, you can put it in its solid state. So we'll throw that 1/2 cup in. Now what we need is a little bit of salt. So just a little pinch. When I say a pinch, I mean a pinch. And I use Himalayan salt. Now let's talk about vanilla powder. Vanilla powder versus vanilla extract. If you were going to use vanilla extract, you would use 1 teaspoon for the whole recipe. If you're going to use vanilla powder, it's more powerful, so you need 1/4 teaspoon. So we're going to put 1/8 teaspoon in both batches. Okay, so there we go. There's the 1/8 for this one. Put that aside for the next one. And let's get our Vitamix going here. And again, this is going to make a lot of noise. So if you're doing it with me, you're going to be just as noisy as me. There we go. Make sure that lid is on. And start letting it do it just very slowly to start with to get everything moving around. And I do have a plunger for it, so I'm going to grab it just in case I need it. Now this is the time that I would probably be cleaning my kitchen a bit. Okay, so now we're going to take that up a notch. Use your plunger to plunge it down. Get everything down there. Okay, it's at a place that I'm comfortable to take it out and put it back into one of my Pyrex measuring cups so that I can do the second batch and then throw them all together. Okay, so what we're going to do is take this down. Get this out. That's good enough for now. Now remember, you got all those other ingredients too to put back in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with, oh boy, just put that in there for now. Start with your cranberries and your cashews. Actually, I'm not sure it matters how you put these in. Some people say put the liquid first. It might make a difference. I'm not really sure. But I guess I'm just being lazy today. So now we've got the rest of our maple syrup is going in there. Here we go. And then the 1/4 cup of lemon juice. Back in there. Whoops. Milk. The 1/4 cup of coconut oil, or coconut water, pardon me, whoops. Coconut water, pardon me. Coconut oil's coming in too. We're going to put in 1/2 cup of coconut oil, because remember we put 1/2 cup before, and this recipe needs a full cup. And you need that because then once it starts to, once you refrigerate it, then it goes solid. That's what kind of binds it all together and gives it that nice texture that stays together, is when the coconut oil solidifies again. Okay, let's get this happening. Okay, coconut oil is going in. Done. Put that aside. A little bit more vanilla powder, which is 1/4 teaspoon, or 1/8 teaspoon. And then a little bit more salt. Okay, that's done with that. Put the lid on, and we go through this whole process again. Start it off slow. Oh wow, that went fast. Every once in a while, sometimes you gotta take it off and just kind of shake it to get the air bubbles. There we go. Okay, I'm going to try. Now what I'm going to do is, now that this is fairly liquidy, we're going to put the other stuff back in. Then we're just going to rip it up one last time. But you want it to be nice and creamy, just like a cheesecake would be. So back in goes this that we did before. Back on. You always make sure your little cap is secure, otherwise it'll go shooting up to the sky. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start it off slow again, and then move it up a bit as it gets going. You could put your plunger in there just to get it going. It all mixed together. Not quite all mixed together yet, so we want to make sure it is so that it gets nice and smooth. This part you don't want to be all crunchy. Remember when you replace that top cap to make sure it's in those secured locations. At this point you might smell your machine starting to heat up. That's when I turn it off. Because sometimes it does get a little overheated. So I think I'm satisfied with this. Let's take a peek blue. See if it's creamy enough. I would say so. Could take a little taste test. At this point, if you take a taste test, though, recognize you're going to taste more cashew than you are going to be anything else because it hasn't all blended together totally. It needs to be refrigerated for that. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. So, now what we do is we just get our things out of the freezer. Get out a little spatula. Give it one little whip around with the spatula. And you can, with the Vitamix, you've got a measurement on the side, so you can actually see how many cups you have, which is not always that easy, but let's see how many we've got here. There's 7. So it's about 6.5 cups. So what you want to do is put like 3 1/4 in each. So you pour some in. I did the other one, because I don't go by measurement, I go by eye for this. A little bit more on this one. Kind of smooth them over, shake them to smooth them over, put the lid on them, put them on in the fridge. If you're going to need them sooner, you put them in the freezer and then put them in the for a couple of hours to solid up really fast, and then put them in the fridge for a few hours or on the counter before you're going to serve them. I'm going to be putting them in the fridge because I'm not going out till tomorrow. So, bon appetit. Thanks for joining me. I'm Truth Renaissance. Until